Let's be honest, there's a side of desire no one talks about openly, a side that's hidden behind polite smiles, casual swipes, and the curated perfection of social media. Yet, it pulses quietly in everyone, especially in women, even if they'd never admit it. Most men think they know what women want, but what I'm about to reveal isn't something you'll read in a dating guide or hear in a podcast. This is the raw, unfiltered psychology that underpins fantasies. The kind of thoughts that ignite deep longing and unspoken curiosity. The first fantasy is control. Not the kind where someone is dominating in a superficial way, but the subtler psychological pull of surrendering control. Women, like everyone, have moments when they crave to let go completely, to release responsibility and watch the world unfold around them while someone else takes the lead. And here's the truth. This isn't about weakness. It's about trust, security, and a deep attraction to confidence. Ooh, that's not loud, but unwavering. When a man can command his own life, make decisions effortlessly, and remain composed under pressure, it awakens this hidden craving. It's why women are drawn to men who aren't just reactive to life, but who create life around them. The second fantasy is the forbidden experiences, feelings, or emotions society often labels as wrong or off limits. Women think about the taboo, the thrill of crossing lines that would normally seem off limits because the mind craves intensity. It's not just about rebellion. It's about a deep desire for stimulation, for moments that feel electric and real. Think of it like this. Every time life feels safe and predictable, the imagination searches for an escape, an adrenaline rush. Men who understand this can subtly create tension, excitement, and anticipation without ever forcing anything. They trigger a psychological craving for intensity. Fantasy 3 is emotional depth. While people assume women only fantasize about romance or passion, the deeper truth is about being understood in ways few can. Women want to be seen in the core of their complexity, their fears, and their contradictions. A man who listens, observes, and truly notices the nuances of her personality can awaken desires that physical attraction alone could never touch. It's a rare skill, the ability to make someone feel fully known and emotionally mirrored. This is where desire and trust merge in a way that can't be faked or forced. Finally, the fourth fantasy is freedom within intimacy. This may sound contradictory, but the craving is real. The desire to feel completely free yet entirely connected, safe yet unrestrained. It's the balance between security and adventure, predictability and unpredictability. Men who can embody both, steady in life yet capable of surprising depth, are those who ignite this fantasy. Most men never realize these fantasies exist because women are conditioned to hide them even from themselves sometimes. But understanding these layers, these unspoken desires, isn't just about attraction. It's about emotional intelligence, awareness, and the ability to navigate the complex, unseen forces of female psychology. Most men miss the signals entirely. These fantasies I just revealed aren't always spoken. They live in fleeting glances, a hesitation before she speaks, the way her eyes linger on a certain type of confidence. And here's the kicker. The more you chase, the less she feels seen. Understanding how these fantasies surface is where the real power lies. Take the fantasy of control. Women don't crave domination in a crass or physical sense. They crave mastery in subtlety. A woman notices the man who navigates life like a conductor, who makes choices that ripple through his world with calm precision. It could be the way he orders in a restaurant, negotiates a plan, or solves a problem without panic. These small actions tell her without words that she can relax her mental grip. She can let herself experience surrender because he's reliable, composed, and decisive. The psychological pull here is irresistible, but most men think control is about asserting themselves loudly. They're wrong. True power whispers. Now, the forbidden. This one is trickier because it's wrapped in secrecy and imagination. Women fantasize about risk, tension, and crossing invisible lines. It's not that they want chaos. They want intensity. The subtle art of teasing the imagination, hinting at possibilities without giving them away, creates an undercurrent of excitement. A man who can evoke this fantasy doesn't need to be dramatic. He simply creates mystery, unpredictability, and emotional gravity. A single choice. The way he looks, the way he smiles, a comment dropped in passing can ignite a craving for more, a desire that grows stronger the more it remains unspoken. Then there's emotional depth. This is the silent, unacknowledged craving for validation on a profound level. Women fantasize about being fully understood, not judged, not solved, but recognized. The man who mirrors her mind, who notices contradictions and validates them without trying to fix her, becomes unforgettable. Emotional depth is a magnet because it's rare. Most men react, few reflect, and reflection is what transforms attraction into obsession. Freedom within intimacy is the most paradoxical of all. A woman may crave closeness yet fear the loss of independence. She wants a partner who offers safety without suffocation, structure without rigidity, and presence without demand. Men who embody this paradox, steady yet unpredictable, attentive yet self-possessed, trigger fantasies that feel both terrifying and exhilarating. It's this tension between connection and autonomy that keeps her mind replaying interactions, wondering, imagining, longing. Recognizing these patterns in subtle behaviors isn't about manipulation, it's about awareness. When you understand what stirs her subconscious mind, you can navigate interactions in a way that feels natural but profoundly magnetic. Most men operate blindly, thinking attraction is about charm, humor, or looks. The truth is far more nuanced. It's about the silent architecture of her desires, the invisible threads of fantasy that run beneath conscious awareness. Attraction isn't loud. It doesn't scream in flashy gestures or over-the-top words. The fantasies we just discussed live in the invisible layers of her mind in subtle triggers, fleeting sensations, and moments she can't fully explain. This is where the gap exists. Most men think attraction is about what they say or how they look. The truth, it's how you make her feel, even when she's not conscious of it. The control fantasy manifests in tiny details. She notices how you navigate uncertainty. Do you panic when plans change, or do you adapt with calm precision? Do you lead without forcing, guide without dominating? Every choice, every micro decision you make signals reliability. It's not about authority. It's about demonstrating competence without arrogance. When you move through life like this, you awaken a primal pull, a craving to surrender, not because she is weak, but because you radiate stability. This is what creates unspoken desire, security mixed with subtle dominance. The forbidden fantasy thrives on tension, mystery, and unpredictability. Women are drawn to what they can't fully predict, the unknown edges that hint at hidden depths. It might be the way your voice drops in certain conversations, the slight smile when a topic brushes against taboo, or the calm way you acknowledge what others avoid. This isn't manipulation, it's presence. It's the ability to hold complexity without needing to simplify it. That tension, that understated risk triggers curiosity, and curiosity is the heartbeat of desire. Emotional depth is the fantasy that turns attraction into obsession. Women crave someone who understands nuance, who sees beyond surface behavior and notices the contradictions that make them human. When you reflect her complexity without judgment, it's electric. Listen, observe, ask questions that show you notice more than the obvious. The subtle acknowledgement that you see her fully, even her fears, even her inconsistencies, sparks an emotional intimacy that no casual charm can create. It's rare, and rarity equals value. Freedom within intimacy creates a tension she can't ignore. She wants connection, but she wants it on her terms too. When you can maintain your own life, priorities, and passions while still offering presence and attention, you embody a paradox she subconsciously craves. The balance of independence and closeness is intoxicating. She feels both grounded and free, safe and exhilarated, and that creates a mental loop where she can't stop thinking about you even when she tries. Understanding these fantasies and triggers isn't a checklist to manipulate her. It's about awareness and self-mastery. When you move through life aware of these unspoken desires, your actions gain layers of magnetism. Every word, glance, and decision carries weight because you operate on a level most men never reach, the level of psychological resonance. This is why some men are unforgettable without trying, while others are instantly forgotten, no matter how handsome, wealthy, or funny they are. They being unforgettable isn't about grand gestures or empty lines. It's about subtlety. It's about moving through life in a way that touches her subconscious before she even realizes it. This is where fantasy meets reality, where what she secretly craves intersects with what you actually embody. Most men chase attraction on the surface, but the real pull lives in micro behaviors, tone, presence, and choice. Control manifests in how you carry yourself. It's in your posture, your calmness when plans go sideways, and the quiet decisiveness in your actions. Women notice the men who don't flinch under pressure, who navigate life like it's theirs to shape rather than endure. You don't need to assert yourself with words. Your presence alone signals competence. The subconscious reads it instantly. Stability attracts surrender. The stronger you are internally, the more willing she becomes to explore the thrill of relinquishing. Control. The forbidden comes alive in restraint and timing. You hint without revealing, you tease without conceding, and you create mystery in your every interaction. Women are drawn to what they can't fully grasp: a subtle smile, a pause before a response, a knowing look. These are the tools that awaken curiosity. Curiosity is the spark that turns casual interest into preoccupation. When you allow space for her imagination to run wild, you step into a role she can't ignore, a presence that lingers in her mind long after you leave. Emotional depth shows in your ability to listen and reflect without judgment. You don't just hear words, you notice the undercurrents, you comment on what she doesn't say directly, and you honor her contradictions. A single sentence delivered with awareness can make her feel truly understood. Women crave this depth because it's rare. Most men react, few resonate, and resonance creates obsession. When she experiences that recognition, she associates it with you uniquely, and her subconscious begins to crave more of it. Freedom within intimacy is about balance. You maintain your life, your ambitions, your boundaries while offering presence that feels effortless. She senses that you don't need her validation, yet you choose to share your attention. This paradox is magnetic. She experiences safety without restriction, connection without compromise, and excitement without fear. That's the dance that keeps her engaged and thinking about you when you're not around. Embedding these fantasies in your daily interactions doesn't require acting, pretending, or forcing scenarios. It's about cultivating the internal traits that naturally radiate: calm confidence, emotional awareness, subtle unpredictability, and self-possession. When these qualities are real, they ripple outward in every glance, gesture, and word. Women pick up on authenticity subconsciously. This isn't manipulation, it's alignment. The men who succeed aren't chasing desire, they're embodying it, making her fantasies reflect reality without ever saying a word. Fascination is invisible and obsession is silent. Most men think attraction is loud, immediate, and obvious, but the fantasies we've uncovered operate beneath awareness, creating a pull that is almost addictive. It's not about forcing attention. It's about creating subtle emotional currents that make her mind circle back to you again and again without conscious effort. The fantasy of control becomes magnetic when it's paired with calm assurance. Women feel drawn to men who lead their own lives without neediness, who maintain composure when chaos arises. This creates an invisible tether. She doesn't have to chase, she wants to follow. That tether is reinforced with every small demonstration of capability, every decision made without hesitation. It's not about dominance, it's about reliability wrapped in quiet strength. When you master this, her subconscious starts associating you with stability and excitement simultaneously. The forbidden ignites curiosity like wildfire. Women are pulled to men who embody subtle unpredictability, who hint at complexity without explanation, a fleeting joke, a glance that seems to hold a secret, or a comment that suggests depth beyond the ordinary. These moments trigger the imagination. The mind starts filling in the blanks, creating fantasies in real time. The more restrained and nuanced you are, the stronger the pull becomes. It's a psychological loop. She imagines possibilities, your presence triggers them, and she keeps coming back for more. Emotional depth reinforces attachment. Women crave someone who truly sees them, who notices contradictions and validates them without trying to fix anything. Every time you acknowledge her subtle emotions, her hidden fears, or her unspoken thoughts, you're embedding yourself into her inner world. This is where fascination turns into dependency. She begins to anticipate your reactions, seek your perspective, and replay your interactions in her mind. Emotional resonance is the glue that keeps her mentally present, even when physically distant. Freedom within intimacy creates tension that hooks attention. A woman wants connection but fears suffocation. When you maintain your own life, your own goals, and your own rhythm, yet still offer consistent presence, you create a paradox she can't resist. She experiences closeness and autonomy simultaneously, safety and thrill intertwined. This dynamic creates mental loops where she reflects on you, imagines scenarios with you, and begins to crave your presence without realizing why it's subtle. But the effect is profound. The more independent you are, the more indispensable you feel. Understanding how to trigger these subconscious fantasies isn't manipulation, it's mastery. When you embody the qualities she secretly desires, you stop being just another man, you become a presence that stimulates the mind, excites the imagination, and fulfills fantasies she rarely admits, even to herself. This is how attraction evolves from surface level interest into an almost irresistible, deeply psychological pull. Men who grasp this can create magnetic, lasting impressions without trying to impress, without performing, simply by aligning their reality with these hidden desires. The truth about attraction isn't in what she says, what she posts, or even what she admits to her friends. The truth lives in the fantasies she barely whispers to herself, the desires she hides even from her own mind. And the men who truly understand this don't try to force connection. They cultivate it naturally in ways almost invisible yet profoundly magnetic. Control, forbidden desires, emotional depth, and freedom within intimacy. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are the psychological levers that create fascination. When you embody calm decisiveness, subtle unpredictability, emotional resonance, and independent presence, you become unforgettable. Women don't just notice these traits, they feel them. It triggers the part of her mind that plays scenarios over and over, imagining possibilities, craving attention, and seeking connection. This is the hidden engine behind obsession, the reason she can't stop thinking about the man who embodies the fantasies she's afraid to admit. Here's the real secret. It isn't about grand gestures, flashy charm, or empty words. It's about alignment, aligning your behavior with what she subconsciously craves. Every glance, pause, and decision carries weight. Every subtle hint of unpredictability, every acknowledgement of her depth, every act of quiet competence resonates at a level she may not even articulate. This is where attraction becomes magnetic, almost inevitable, and why some men leave impressions that linger for a lifetime, while others fade without a trace. The power of these insights is transformative. You don't need to manipulate. You need to become self-aware, intentional, and authentic. Mastering yourself first creates the psychological space for her fantasies to converge with reality. She begins to notice your presence, to replay moments, and to crave the subtle, unspoken experiences only you can provide. Attraction isn't a performance. It's the natural consequence of embodying the qualities she secretly desires. Now, here's a challenge that will reveal how much of this truly resonates with you. Imagine a scenario where you combine calm control, subtle unpredictability, emotional depth, and freedom in a single interaction. How would she respond? What would she feel? Write it down as an equation in the comments. I want to see your insight. If this video opened your eyes, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more insights into female psychology and share this video with a friend who needs to hear the truth. Trust me, the more you understand these hidden desires, the more effortlessly your presence becomes unforgettable. Invisible layers of her mind in subtle triggers, fleeting sensations, and moments she can't fully explain. This is where the gap exists. Most men think attraction is about what they say or how they look. The truth, it's how you make her feel, even when she's not conscious of it. The control fantasy manifests in tiny details. She notices how you navigate uncertainty. Do you panic when plans change, or do you adapt with calm precision? Do you lead without forcing, guide without dominating? Every choice, every micro decision you make signals reliability. It's not about authority. It's about demonstrating competence without arrogance. When you move through life like this, you awaken a primal pull. a craving to surrender, not because she is weak, but because you radiate stability. This is what creates unspoken desire, security mixed with subtle dominance. The forbidden fantasy thrives on tension, mystery, and unpredictability.